The question is that the motion be agreed to. David Bennett.
Mr Speaker, that member just put out new Labor Party policy in his speech. In that speech, and these are the words I want all New Zealanders to remember, you can only own a house in New Zealand if you live here or build a new home. Those are your exact words.
Order.
The member has said that the New Zealanders must live here or build a new home. What about if somebody owns a home and then decides to go on their OE? Are they still allowed to own their home? Are they allowed to own their own home? If they go away for a weekend, go away for a month, go away for a year, do they still have to own their own home? They have to sell their home under Labor Party policy. The Labor Party is forcing New Zealanders to sell their homes under their approach to this legislation. What happens if somebody goes overseas and works for 10 years in London, a New Zealand-born person goes to a New Zealand school, New Zealand university, all their family here, goes overseas for 10 years, under the Labor Party, that person has not got the right to buy a house in New Zealand. Under Labor Party policy, they don't have the right to buy a house in New Zealand. And that member is supposed to be their tax spokesperson. At the end, that member spoke about the Australian policy, which was resident or new home. It's not the same as live here or new home. So maybe if we got a decent tax spokesperson for the left, we might actually get some reasonable policy coming out of that side. But that was his first mistake, and that was his worst mistake. But his second mistake was another beauty as well, because as this member talked about, that holding land for speculative gain is not taxed in New Zealand. Once you get through the 2 years, this member said that you're not going to be taxed. Well, the 10-year rule that has always been there, that if you have the intention of purchasing a piece of property with the intention of sale, it is taxable. And that member better leave the House now, because he knows he's stuffed it up. And the reality is that in tax policy and tax law in New Zealand, if a person or a resident or whatever buys and sells a property with the intention of selling within 10 years, that is taxable. All this legislation does is deem that within the 2-year period, it is featuring within the bright line test and will be taxable for those purposes. So, Mr Speaker, the opposition has put up great new policy today. Members of this country, citizens, residents must live here or build a new home. That is the only way that people can own a house in New Zealand, and that is policy that I'm sure the Labor Party will come to regret, and I'm sure their next speakers will try and adjust in the way that they do through rhetoric in this House, as they normally do.